Hey guys, and welcome to another Eto catch-up. My name is Josh,
I'm Will.
and today we're talking about Ghost of Tsushima, the Xbox exclusive, PlayStation
I was like,
exclusive
is he doing a
for
joke?
PS4. I
was
should have
like-
gone with it.
I know. I thought you were going to roll.
I think it's the final exclusive for PS4.
Yeah, pretty much. Definitely, yes, for the PS4. We still get Bugsnax on the PS4 and a few other games.
It's true, it's true.
Did it go out with a bang, Josh? We're going to be going into spoilers eventually, but we'll start off spoiler-free.
We will.
Did it go
We
out
will.
with a bang?
Relatively.
Soft bang.
I enjoyed a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed kind of the combat, the world, a lot of the other characters. You go through a lot of their storylines. The side missions. A lot of the side missions are to do with the other characters that you fight with, and yeah, I really enjoyed sort of getting to know those characters, and there's a lot of interesting stories and things that come from those. And I love the environment. I love the environmental like navigation and storytelling and stuff like that. Very, very cool design everywhere. Although the game sometimes felt a little bit dated, but other than that, yeah, like I played the crap out of this game all the way to platinum.
You clearly enjoyed it.
Hell yeah, 4th platinum.
I came around to it by the end of it. It took a little bit, but I thought it was really, really cool. I think it definitely fits in the ecosystem of PlayStation exclusives in terms of quality. It's certainly, it's not top tier, but it's within that realm. And I think the best thing I think of the game, the combat's fine. I think the seamless UI or HUD or whatever. The fact that until you're fighting, there's nothing on your screen. You navigate by the wind, which, you know, it's great until it's not the most clear and you're just swiping on the touchpad every 5 seconds. It feels a little bit weird sometimes.
Absolutely, yes.
There were certainly moments where I was like, I wouldn't mind a map.
Yeah, maybe a little marker down the bottom or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just something in the distance, you know, just a dot. There's a single dot that I know that that's the way. Because sometimes the wind... There's just a lot of mountains in this game, and you sometimes ride towards a mountain, you're like, that way or that way? And you ride all the way around a mountain just to get to water, and you're like, well, this horse is scared of, like, inch-high water, so I'm obviously... And you got to go all the way back around. So it's a bit janky in that respect, but it's still a lovely idea. And I think there is a lot of cool and interesting ideas, especially in the combat, because... With the combat, there's like 3 different... Because there's 4 different enemy styles. And so you kind of select what type of combat will... What mode of combat will benefit you. Or what stance. Is that what the thing is?
They're all called stances, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like moon stance, sun stance, water stance, something like that.
Yeah. And they all cleverly... Most of them, except for the spear one, they all correspond to like... a visual thing, like the X is for a basic swords attack, and the square is for like the heavy dudes, and the circle is for like shields, and the triangles, I guess it's a spearhead you could go with, I guess. Yeah.
I had not noticed that before. That's awesome. That's such a cool thing. I don't know why. I just had not picked up on that. That's sick.
It's very clever. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that as well, but especially by the end, once they're all unlocked, it's interesting because I almost wish it was almost a power buff for each of them. Because sometimes I'm like, I just want to use the heavy one against everyone.
It should work, right? Yeah.
Like, if you're attacking a big boy and you've got to penetrate lots of armor, then surely that same strike on a guy with no armor, he should just be in half. He should be dead now. So sometimes that felt a little bit weird, but it's a really fun idea for combat.
Yeah. It sort of keeps you on your toes and keeps you moving instead of just mashing the same button the whole time, which you sort of do end up doing.
Yeah.
You do have to think just that little bit more than like an Assassin's Creed where it's just dodge and attack, or parry and attack or whatever. They keep introducing throughout the game new attack types and things like that. Like you've got once you learn to use poison darts, then they start to use poison arrows and things like that to then poison you. The enemies will light their swords on fire, which you probably didn't find because I think it was a mythic quest.
No, it's everywhere.
No.
Oh, you can. Yeah, right.
You get it. Yeah.
Right.
So one of the mythic quests, you end up getting the ability to light your sword on fire, and then when you attack, you can light people on fire when you hit them and stuff like that. Like, I think, yeah, as you were saying, there's some good progression along with that.
I mean, it's probably worth mentioning what you said about the Mythic Quest thing. The different ways we both played the game.
Very
It's
true.
probably a good one to say up front. For you, Josh, you went all in.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I absolutely platinumed this. So I did every single side quest you possibly could. I liberated every area. I upgraded every single thing that I possibly could. Found every secret, like all the fox dens, all the hot springs. So hot springs are like you literally get naked and get into them, and then your health increases.
Yeah, I did one of
bit
those,
weird.
and I was like, this is uncomfortable to watch.
It's a bit weird. You just see a whole lot of Jin's bum
yeah,
just
right there.
dropping down, and then you almost see his junk as he comes up. But I think there's a branch of a tree is just blocking him as he rises up. And one of the other things is it says things like reflect on, and then it gives you a choice of two things to reflect on while you're in there, because it likes to be quite. I think it's trying to go for like a traditional Japanese sort of thing where you're writing haiku poetry, which I heard. I can't confirm, but I heard that haikus didn't exist at this point in history.
Right.
It was actually a different type of poetry, but I guess this is the more accessible one that people would know.
Yeah.
And then, like a lot of reflection and thinking about family and legacy and stuff like that. Like a lot of reflecting on things through the haikus and through sitting in these hot springs. And one of them, you get into this hot spring, and it says reflect on, and one of the choices was my mother. And I was like, okay, sure, let's see what he says about that. And you click it, and he says something like, my mother used to love these hot springs, but she'd never want to get her hair wet. I'm like, you're just sitting naked in a hot spring,
Yeah.
thinking about your mum sitting naked
In a hot spring.
in a hot spring.
It's not very deep, is it?
What? It's so weird. It's so strange. So some of the reflections were like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? It's so weird.
A bit of padding.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to getting everything. I got everything. Every quest, all the mythic quests, which were really cool. They're all like, basically you go up to a musician who sit there and they're plucking away at this weird Japanese type guitar. They sound awful. Do you remember hearing any
Yeah,
of
I think
these
I heard
guys?
a couple.
They're just
Yeah.
like bow, bow,
It's gross.
bow. Bow, 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 bow. It's the same note. They never try anything
I'm sure
else.
it's very like we need a preface. I'm sure it's very traditional and beautiful in its own way, but it's not.
I don't
great
know.
to hear.
Because I've heard Japanese music and it doesn't sound like that.
You think this is an intern that had it and just played a few notes? and
Yeah,
just
like
used it?
one note,
Just single
one note.
Yeah.
Far out. It was so weird. You go up to these musicians, and they tell you a tale, and then you get this cool like story as they're telling it. You get this artwork, and it's almost like a watercolor artwork painting happening. That's sort of, it's like one of those filters where, like from one point, it's like, and like all the black kind of fills in the artwork, but it almost like runs in.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Like watercolor kind of paintings
Yeah.
and stuff. And it would tell this whole story, and it would sort of go from like one shot to
cool.
another like seamlessly. And it was this really cool way of telling a story and filling it in, instead of having those annoying like 10-meter away camera
Cutscene.
angles.
Oh my god.
Because they couldn't be bothered like animating the mouths properly and stuff like that. It was super rough.
Yeah.
Talking to anyone that wasn't a proper cutscene,
Yeah.
like for the main story. So you probably wouldn't have seen as many of them as I did,
No.
having played the full thing, because you would have got most of the cutscenes because you
Yeah.
only really played.
There's
the
very
storyline.
few though. Like
Yeah.
almost any like conversation based thing is just two people standing an awkward like 1.5 meters away from each other, and it's like a two shot, and then there's just wide shot. That's not wide is like too small of a word. The camera is so far away from them. It's very strange. Like I get it in a game like, you know, The Witcher, but even in those games, I feel like in the 15 hours I played of that, all the cutscenes, at least even the 2 camera things, is fully animated, scripted mouths. They've got their cool little procedural thing, that Mass Effect didn't do well in Andromeda. But
yes.
It just felt like, it felt weird, a weird cost-cutting measure, especially because like the last Sucker Punch game I played, and I think they made, was Second Son and First Light, and that is a heavily story-driven game, and so all the cutscenes are cutscenes.
Yes.
So it felt a weird step back for them, but, there's 55 hours of gameplay. I guess they can't do it all.
Yeah, definitely. Should we jump into a bit more... Well, we're pretty much spoiling it.
Yeah, as I said, it's hard to spoil it, really.
Yeah.
Like, unless we're legitimately like, this happens in the story, which even though the story's barely there, it's fine. So, sure, if you're watching this and didn't want to hear any spoilers, we'll spoil things now.
Yeah, I guess I'll do like a super quick overview. There's not much to it, really.
Yeah.
It's a very basic kind of game, but we have... There's 3 acts for this game. In Act 1, the Mongols invade Tsushima. They wipe out pretty much all of the samurai, including yourself, except your uncle. They capture your uncle and take him away. But a lady, Yuna? Yuna.
I remember that one. That's the only character I remember in this game. I didn't even remember...
character you liked, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't even remember who I was until you told me the other night. The ghost.
Yes. So she kind of saves you, brings you back up to good health, and she ends up fighting with you. She's actually a really good warrior, very, very helpful, and Will's favorite character and his preferred character that he would have liked to play instead.
Should have just been them. Imagine the story of a what is the thing? What's the word? Thief. A thief turned samurai turned leader of Tsushima. Imagine how much cooler that would be rather than the guy that's born into it. You're basically watching Thor versus Loki. Loki, who should never be king. Imagine how interesting that story would be of his, becoming the king. Instead, you're watching Thor, where it's like, well, do you want to be king or not? Okay, cool.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So then you're the only samurai left, basically, because everyone else is dead. There are other warriors, I believe. Maybe.
I feel like,
proper samurai, not so much. And then you find out your uncle's still alive, so then you go to the Khan. So it's Genghis Khan's grandson is the guy that you're actually fighting this whole game, the big bad guy, the leader of the Mongol army. So you go to him, you try and get your uncle back. He basically just throws you off a bridge in a very quick battle, and you end up washing up somewhere, jumping on a horse, I think, and just riding off, which is where the credits rise up. And then basically the whole thing, you are just chasing the Khan from the south of Tsushima up through the different areas of Tsushima, all the way up to the north. That's basically it.
That's the whole game.
After Act 1, you get your uncle out. So Act 2, you're working with your uncle to try and get the Khan back. Samurais have a very respectful way of fighting. So they only fight face to face. There's never any sneaky kind of going behind them or trying to scare them or anything. It's very respectful and like a warrior's death all the time. So throughout this game, you keep twisting those morals that your uncle taught you, but then realizing that this is actually a better way to do things for the type of enemy that you're fighting, because they're fighting dirty. You need to also fight dirty back, because otherwise they'll totally defeat you. The beginning of the game, the Khan walks up, I think it was the Khan, walks up, throws some oil on the best fighter in Tsushima, and then throws fire on him, and then he just burns to death straight away. There's no battle.
It's not noble.
It's crazy, not at all. That is so clever. That was a great little twist for just that split second. It was so cool. So yeah, you end up wanting to fight a certain way. By the end of Act 2, your uncle wants to fight a different way and be quite noble and stuff, but that's going to end up killing all of the warriors that you have left. So you end up poisoning a lot of the warriors that are there. The army, the Mongol
Khan's
army.
Yeah.
That's it. Your uncle isn't very happy about this. He casts you out. You escape, and then you're basically on your own until the end of the game. You defeat Khan. By the end, you chat to your uncle. Your uncle's like the shogunate, who's basically the Japanese government, are disbanding your name, and your, I forget what you call it.
It's like the Shimura clan?
Clan.
The clan?
That's the one. Yeah. So they are disbanding that, so you no longer exist. And then you fight your uncle. You either kill him or don't, which is something we have to talk about. And then you end up basically just being like a nomad.
Yeah, the ghost. You're the ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. So you have no family. No one knows where you are at any one time. And that's pretty much the game. It's very straightforward. It's nice and easy to follow. That was one thing I did like about this game, is I didn't have to think too much. Yeah. Like, even the fighting mechanics, we were saying, like, oh yeah, you have to, like, there's a bit more thinking to it. There's not a lot.
It's like,
just a little
the thinking
bit more.
Is going, oh, he's got a shield, and you press the button. That's it.
That's all. That's all, yeah. But it sort of keeps you on your toes a little bit more, but at the same time, it is fairly mindless.
Yeah.
Like, it's you're not solving puzzles or anything. Like,
no.
It's not that intense.
And you can even get by with just the sword stance, really. Like, I feel like that actually ended up working a lot of the time. Yeah, it is a fairly easy game.
Yeah.
There's certainly battles, like, basically every time you get to a boss battle is the only time you'll actually have to really knuckle down and focus on your dodges and your parries and the rest of it. Any other time, it's just like, avoid until you can hit, and then you're good.
Yeah. And the hardest battle I came across was a side mission series thing. Either middle of Act 2 or like beginning of Act 3 is when it came up.
Yeah, right.
Or at least when it started.
Yeah.
But the final battle of that, I think it was maybe a Mythic Quest as well or something like that, but it was a lot of the Straw Hats, who are also Japanese warriors that aren't samurai, but their own sort of group of warriors. They seem to be under samurai, because he's like, I'll make you a samurai to his friend. So they end up going against you and hating you, and so there is a whole bunch of duels scattered throughout the world, and the final one that you get to took me probably 15 to 20 tries.
Yeah.
Which is nuts, because any other duel took me maybe 3.
Yeah, totally.
Like, maximum 3.
Yeah.
So that one, I was so pissed. I was so angry. It was insane. But yeah, like you said, a lot of them, they're hard. You have to focus a lot more. But yeah, it's a relatively easy to play and easy to follow game.
Yeah, totally. I feel like on that, it's important to note why, and this isn't like me giving excuses. Well, I mean, it technically is an excuse, but it's an excuse that is true. But it's an excuse that I don't have to give if I played the game properly, is I played the game by just doing the story. Beyond Act 1, I didn't do a single side mission. I think I did one Fox Den during Act 3, and that was it.
Okay.
Act 1, I think I might have done 2 or 3 of, like, unintentionally, because I will say one of the greatest things of the game is how easy it is to come well, I say it, in Act 1 at least, how easy it is to come across camps and stuff. Generally, there'll be a camp like 400 meters away from where you need to get to, where your marker is placed. So it'll be the perfect spot. And also, generally, once you've done that camp, that's a fast travel location as well. So it's a good little bit. Like, I think I did 2 or 3 of those camps, which are really, really fun. They're Far Cry kind of camp based,
like
Ubisoft
liberate a camp.
Yeah, basically. Assassin's Creed, if anything. They were cool, but yeah, I just played completely story, which meant I had no idea you could get 10 resolve, which is both your health as well as like your super move abilities. healing ability. I had 4 for the whole game.
So I think you must have gotten one purely from like leveling up.
Yes, I think so.
I think, or from growing your legend.
Yeah.
I think you get 1 from that at least because you start with 3.
Yeah, so actually I think I had 5 by the end of it.
Sure.
Because I definitely got through at least one of those things, but I didn't have 10, which meant a lot of the boss battles are hard because you do have to heal or you have to use like abilities. I mean, the only ability I had from them is like the blue sparkly one, like the almost unblockable ability. That's all I had. I had that in health.
Fair. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I ended up with 10. By the last battle, I had 9.
Yep.
Because I couldn't find. So the resolve is done through bamboo strikes, which I found really fun. So there would be like, you'd find this thing where samurais train their sword skills. So there would be 3. There's 3. I didn't know how I was going to represent it. There would be 3 pieces of bamboo, and you would have to cut through them smoothly, and then there would be 5, and then there would be 7. But the way you do that properly, the way the game gamifies it for you, is it's basically quick time events. So on each of the 3 pieces of bamboo, there would be like an X, L1, square, and so you'd have to go. Like as soon as you press the first one, he winds up and then cuts.
Right.
So you have to press those 3 in that time. And then there's 5, and he doesn't give you any more wind-up time. You just have to do it in that time. And then there's 7.
God.
So it could be quite difficult by the end, but not too hard. Again, maybe maximum 5 attempts on the 7th one sometimes, because you get a little bit mixed up. And like sometimes there'd be like a bunch of presses on your left hand, and like left hand's hard to like move that quickly. And I'm a guitarist, like that's bad on my part.
Yeah, totally.
It's cold too. My fingers don't move as fast.
Your fingers are slow.
That's how I'm gonna get around that.
Use that one.
Same sort of thing with the hot springs. You get in the hot springs. You don't need to do multiple to get your health to increase. Every time you get in one, your health increases by like a tiny amount.
It's very minuscule.
It is. Because I didn't know what they did for a while.
Yeah.
I think I googled like why hot spring? What's that even mean?
Why hot
what do
spring?
I do?
I hope that's what
why
you
hot
googled.
spring?
Why hot spring? What's the deal?
Yeah, so eventually I found out, that's health, and then I saw the amount that it increased. I'm like, that's not much. But there are so many hot springs, you end up getting a significant amount of health in the end. Yeah, and then you have like a bunch of your upgrade abilities, which you probably also didn't do much of. Like I think there was like 5 or 6 different skill trees.
Yeah, it was, but okay, so by the end I had
crazy.
By like Act 2 I had like 50 experience points, so I used them all up and did all the things. But it's really... I would say it's one of the worst upgrade tree systems because they're all on different menus. And it's the same... It's not like it's split into 3 different experience point systems. So you could spend it all in your, stance tree, because each stance has its own tree. You can spend it all there and then go down one and realize you didn't spend any on, your abilities or your throwables and stuff. And it's like...
Yeah.
It's just, it's weirdly, I mean, it's fine, and it's great that you can upgrade so many different things, especially for people that like that. I don't. But the fact that it's all split onto, like, different menus, I don't know if that was the best way to do it.
Yeah. No, I get you there. I don't know. Again, the completionist in me and the RPG guy in me, I loved having this much to upgrade.
Yeah.
Again, the menu was annoying. I think I started upgrading a lot of other things. I'm like, I can press down and see other trees that aren't here after a little while. But yeah, once I learned that, I'm like, I never forgot. And then you just upgrade whatever.
Yeah.
I think one of the first things I upgraded was the ability to find locations on your map that you haven't walked past yet. So the bamboo strikes, the fox stands, all of that, because I'm like, yes, now I can do more of these.
Yeah.
Which is Will's nightmare.
There's a cluster of those in the corner of one of the menus, and it's just like the bamboo strikes, the fox stands, and everything just all there. And every time I open the menu up, I'm like, why are you here? I don't need you. I'm not going to touch you.
I was just like, yes, this is mine. Give me all of them.
I do like that they're there from the start, because there's a lot of like the Assassin's Creed where it's like, you've unlocked the maps to all the treasures, and it's like, I found the fucking treasures. I don't need the map now. Or like, here's where all the feathers are, and it's like, I I've got them. Why are you...
Yeah.
It's not helpful now. And I will say the other reason I hate skill trees, especially... this one wasn't too bad because there isn't really many tiers to it. It's like the ability and something extra. But it's... Because it's like, the first thing is like, sick, this is an ability I now have. The next thing is always like, oh, that's not that great, really? I don't really want to... And then it's like, 3 things down is the thing I actually want. And I'm like, I don't want to put it into that. So I just give up and just move on.
Because then you have to upgrade like all this stuff you don't want to get the one thing you do. So then you feel like you're wasting a bunch.
Exactly. So then I never spend any.
Fair.
But I will say, one of the good things with this game is that you don't really need to as well. Like... You can, if you master what they give you. I mean, this is as someone who didn't do anything with them. Exactly. I still got to the end of it, and because I'd been playing on hard, I dropped to normal for the last battle with Khan. I dropped down to normal because I was like, I'm too over this, which we should just touch on, because the Khan battle, the final battle with him, you get the usual boss fight with him, and have to dodge all this stuff, and the only time you get a lock-on camera, because this game's a bastard.
That was the worst part of the battle system.
Yeah.
Is, like, it feels like it should be Dark Souls battle system. Like, you can click on and click off a targeting sort of thing. Like, that's also in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there was no, like, lock onto an enemy and then cycle through them left and right. And that's... With all the podcasts that I listen to, that's one of the big things that a lot of them are like complaining about with this game.
Yeah.
Is the camera just sucks.
It's not good.
It's so, like, mechanically for these battles, it's so face button focused. Like your square, triangle, circle, and X.
And arrow keys.
And arrows, yeah. It's so focused on all of those that you barely have time to go down and move the camera around. So for this sort of game, you need a lock-on to be able to constantly be facing that. And God help you if a tree gets in the way of the camera. Because you will not see anything.
No.
You won't see a single part of the battle. You're just spamming and just hoping for dear life that you're still alive, hitting anybody.
And all their like indicators and stuff are blocked by things, because a lot of games, they'll come through even if you've got something in your face, you can still see the spidey sense and stuff gone. If something's in your camera, that's it. You can't see the... Because at least if I could see it's gone glowing red, I'm like, oh well, I'll get out of here. But you can't. It's gone.
And a lot of games like that as well, if anything can block you, then there will be like a post-processing filter that will say there's something in front of the camera, let's outline where everyone is. So it'll outline like you white and then everyone else in red. So then you can still see exactly where all the characters are. You can see the outline of their bodies. You can see when they're attacking you. You can see where you are. That's just in case. But all in all, it should have a lock on.
It should just have a lock on.
Really should. I don't know how they missed that. What went wrong there?
I swear, because I think it's in Infamous Second Son as well. So it is something they've done.
Yeah, so it's in Jules. They have it.
Totally,
the mechanic is literally in the game. Just put it on R3 for us.
Over
just
there,
let us have it.
Surely that should have been in a day one patch. It's bizarre. Whatever.
Yeah,
but yes, that is the biggest issue with this game. For anyone, I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
For sure.
But yes, the final duel with Khan happens. You definitely kill him. He has no health when it pushes you into a cutscene, but sure. And then he runs away. You chase him through a sea of enemies, which I didn't touch. I just ran.
Neither.
You just run through them.
They don't even try.
No, they're just doing their little thing. They're doing their little dance. You just run through them. You then get onto a boat, and that boat kind of takes off a little bit. And there's just seas of enemies that come out of doors, and they're attacking you. All the while, Khan is also attacking you, but he is
apparently
just among them.
Yeah.
He's
wearing the same outfit that everyone else is.
Yeah.
He's usually much, much bigger.
Yeah.
But in this...
He looks like a heavy.
He's no bigger than just a heavy, one of the brutes.
Yeah, it's bizarre, and you're just taking down waves and waves of enemies, and eventually one of them happens to be him, and that's the end of the main bad guy.
And was that the last person you had to kill as well?
No, I just focused on him because eventually I realized it was him. So I just focused on him and just didn't worry about anyone else.
Right, because I had killed everybody.
Yeah, right.
And it didn't do anything, and I'm like, all right, what am I supposed to do now? And then I found one more guy just running around.
Amazing.
He had like half health or something. And I was like, oh, all right, so I'll kill you, and then I'll get
Khan will
some
come out.
cutscene where, I'll have to fight Khan on this ship and use like everything as obstacles and
That's
stuff
beautiful.
as we duel. And then, I just kept killing him. I got his health down so far. I'm like, oh, I'm so over this. So I threw a couple of bombs at him,
Yeah.
blew him up, and then that was basically the end of the game, other than the uncle fight.
Yes, the uncle fight, which we're going to discuss. Also, there's really fun. That fight does have a decision in the way that Infamous does, where it's really fun, because Infamous Second Son has that swooping thing of this or that, which is cool to have seen that come back. But one other decision, which I'm sure doesn't affect the gameplay, but when she poisoned the Khan's army, your uncle is like, why have you become this? And it's an option of either it's all on you or you blame Yuna. What did you do for that?
I think I'd said it was me.
Yeah, cool. I did the same.
Yeah.
I don't think many people would blame Yuna, unless you hated Yuna for some reason.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely not. Like, it seemed like the right thing to do. Like, the poisoning
The
of the
moral-
people and stuff. Like, screw those samurai traditions, I'm sorry. But, it just, at this point in the game, I think you've done it enough that you're like, no, this is how things need to go for this game.
Totally.
And you don't have a choice anyway.
No. I would love to know who, if anyone played this game to be a samurai, like if anyone played this without stuff. Because like, if it was almost like I was playing fucking Hitman. If I failed and someone killed me, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do it stealth. I want to do this again. So then I'd restart the little mission and do the thing and just do it all in stealth.
Yeah, right, okay.
It was so much. The stealth in this game is surprisingly fun. The enemy, and mainly because the enemies are friggin' stupid. Like,
I was about to say that as well. The AI sucks.
they're so dumb.
much.
But also, I mean, I know a lot of games have like two waves of indicators thing, but their first wave of indicator is so slow. Like, to build the white one is so slow. But then the yellow one is almost the same speed. So you have double the amount of time to get away from them. Like, you're so safe in this game.
Yeah, pretty much. And if you just get out of their line of sight and then hide for a little bit, then they'll just go back to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Unlike other games where if they see one of their comrades dead, then they will be on high alert for the rest of it. Nah. They forget. As soon as they go back, they will walk back to
the exact
one of two positions that they usually stand in.
Yeah.
And they will just go back to what they're doing. They'll warm their hands by the fire. They'll stare at the wall. Like,
oh man, so many. You walk into a cabin and they're just like,
yeah, just against a wall. You're like, okay. Like,
stab.
Holy crap, guys, what the hell?
They're the dumbest things. So the other big decision in the game is obviously near the end, or it is the end of the game, once you've killed the Khan, and assumedly everything's fine, but then you get an alert that your uncle wants to meet with you in the place from the start of the game. It's beautiful symmetry, which... fuck, I saw it coming.
Yeah, it seems to be the location I think that they were also showing when they first announced this game.
Yeah.
Like under a big tree, a lot of red leaves, just in a big circle, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And, I mean, actually, just quickly before we get to what is probably the end of the podcast, because I feel like have you talked about everything you want to talk about, really?
Yeah, I've got my like funny other things that
cool.
came up.
But before we get to the main end bit, I just feel like this game was shown too much. Like, I think that may be the biggest thing and the biggest issue I have with this game, because it is beautiful. It's great. But I feel like I saw all of its beauty 3 years ago when they announced the game, and then they just continually gave us these 20-minute beautiful sweeping things. And I think maybe the shock of seeing everything play out, and I mean, obviously, I didn't watch them in full, but just seeing a lot of images and seeing a lot of preview stuff for it, I think spoilt it for me. Because on the other side of it, The Last of Us 2, they didn't promo that game until like a week before it came out. They held back on so much of that game, and I think that helped with the experience of it and enjoying it to its fullest. I actually think, this is coming because you talked about the tree they showed, I just think they may have overplayed the game a little bit for me at the State of Plays and the E3s, that I think that might have ended up actually spoiling it. Because I wasn't all that hyped for it in the beginning. I don't think many people really were. But seeing it a lot, I think, may have just killed my vibe a little bit. So I just need to put that out there.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it was definitely the lesser of the two samurai games that were announced that year. Like it looked great then.
Yeah.
I think people were kind of excited about it. But what was the other one?
Sekiro?
Sekiro.
Yeah.
That one I feel definitely won out.
Yeah.
Both in the fact that it was game of the year.
I think so. Yeah.
Like it ended up being game of the year.
Yeah.
This will not.
No.
Although I sent you a thing
Yes.
today, which this is the highest rated game of this generation.
It's bizarre.
Not just PlayStation, but the whole generation. It's the highest user rated game
Yeah.
on Metacritic, I think.
Yeah.
So it's got like a 9.3.
That's crazy.
The guy who quoted that, it's from Forbes as well, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
legit. The guy who said that quote, he said like he reckons it'll go down eventually, like it'll go down to maybe like a 6, not a 6, an 8 or something.
He
Not that
hates
bad.
the game.
It's not that bad. Yeah, but yeah, it was like at this point, it is the highest
highest
rated
of the
game
year.
of the whole generation, which is wild. And I feel like it's because I think the people that play it generally like it. And for the people who, like for the trolls on the internet, they don't know it enough or care about it enough. It's not doing anything that's offending anyone.
Yeah.
So therefore, there's no one bombing it.
No. Yeah, but so yes, the end of the game. You confront your uncle. We'll get there. It's taking as long as the actual
it
fucking
has.
game. You confront your uncle. He's like, "Hey, dude, let's fight because that's the noble way to solve this. Because you don't want to do the thing, I don't want to do the thing. The only way to do this is let's just fight." You have your boss battle, and because you're the main character of the game, you best him. He's on the ground, and you have the option of either sparing him, which isn't what he wants. He wants a hero's death. He wants a noble death, a warrior's death, or killing him, which is what he wants. What did you do, Josh?
I'm really hoping you did the opposite of me.
I know, me too. I feel like we might not.
Because my other friend who finished it recently and also platinumed it after I platinumed
wow.
it, I think I inspired him to. That was his first platinum.
Jeez.
That was Chitty, of course. We spared him.
Cool. Yeah, no, I fucking killed him.
Yes!
Yeah,
Excellent.
I did what he wanted.
Good.
It's his last moments. I did what he wanted.
I was just like, you've been a dick to me, I'm going to be a dick to you and leave you to die.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good.
And because, like, the ghost, to me, the ghost no longer stood for samurai traditions and a noble death.
Yeah.
So, like, he still has parts of that, but I'm like,
Yeah, interesting.
you cast me out. You led me to where I am now. This is your fault, basically,
Yeah.
to the uncle. So I'm like, I'm out.
That's really
Catch you later.
interesting. Because
So-
the reason I went with it is because even though he is for that, I feel like he was still hoping for his family. Like he still believed in his
Sure.
family. So I was like, maybe this is his end of he's killed his family. This is the last remaining part of his family. So by killing him, he's cast that out. And now he's the ghost. He's removed that last remaining ember of the Shimura clan.
Yes.
So that was my thinking, but that's really interesting.
My guy said, I don't kill my family.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then like walked away. I was like, oh yeah,
That's badass.
what a call. It's so good.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I just don't remember because I was done. But there was definitely like the thing of he almost was crying because he didn't want to do it.
Sure.
But there was no speech. But yeah, he was almost crying as he did it, which was really cool.
Yeah, of course.
And then it
Yeah.
went into credits.
Yeah,
It was
the cutscenes are beautiful.
the cutscene when they're good.
can-
They're good.
Yeah, the facial animations and stuff are fantastic.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you could tell that he was like really struggling to do that. Like they did really, really well on the probably more so pre-rendered stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
that
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
looks
looks
awesome.
very good.
So good.
And you continue playing the game after that. So was there any kind of continuation that he's alive? Does anyone mention that in any of the missions you did?
I think he was dead. I'm pretty sure he was dead.
He still would have died. Probably if he went back to the dude, he probably got offed anyway. If he went
Yeah.
back to the main guy.
Yeah, probably the Shogun, whatever. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he was dead. But yeah, at the end of the credits, you end up in a little like a little hut
Yeah.
that is kind of hidden away behind some cliff faces and stuff. And it's got a whole bunch of stuff that you've been collecting. And
Mine was
yeah.
fucking bare.
Yeah, so it had sort of like different swords and
Yeah, right.
and armors and stuff there as well. and you walk outside, and Yuna comes up to you and has a bit of a chat. And they're basically like, a lot of the Mongol army is still here, and they can't get off the island, but they're still fighting us anyway. So we need to get rid of them, which is the way that most games seem to be like.
They're still here.
Yeah, like you can keep playing this, and there's no more missions to do, like no more of the main story.
Yeah,
it's. I really like that because I hate it when a game finishes.
You're done.
But it goes back to the start. It goes back to before the last mission.
Yes, yeah.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, two of my favorite games of this generation.
Yeah.
Have done that, and I hate them for it. But well, I don't hate them for it. I hate that they did it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know how else
narrative-wise, yeah.
Yeah, narratively would have done it. But yeah, I love that the way that these games are figuring out ways to allow you to continue playing.
Yeah.
Even though you finished the main game. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then you just go out into the world and
delete the game.
That, yeah. So sometimes there's like, you might still have camps to liberate. Sometimes I went to liberated camps and there were still people, like there were people
still enemies
in there again, which was weird. Because one of them, I went to go in, I accidentally pulled them all, and I'm like, I'm not fighting all you, so I just ran. And then when I went back, they were gone. There was no one in that camp, so I don't know whether that was a bug, whether that wasn't meant to happen.
Oh man, I just saying the word bug, I just have to quickly say,
yeah.
The further I got into the game, the fights got longer and more intense, and it was, whatever. The more times I would get up close and do the finisher move, and the person would just slip away, and I'd still get a blood splash, but they'd just be over there, still alive. Like, the whole action of me grabbing them and that.
What?
But as the camera swung into it, their model would just pop out. And he'd still do that, and there'd be a blood spurt. But then when he got back, the guy was just standing over there, and I'm like, I just used the thing. I can't.
I never saw that. That never happened for me.
In like the last couple of battles, it was like 6 or 7 dudes that it happened to. It was so irritating.
That's so strange.
Because it was in the bits where you got lots of people helping you, and so obviously you can come up behind them and assassinate them because they're distracted. So yeah, quite a few of those. Oh,
yep,
broke me.
Interesting. Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, just a few of my little tidbits.
Please.
This game isn't overly funny.
No, it's not.
It's very, very dry, but
it's the Alita Battle Angel of video games.
Yes. But there are little bits sprinkled in that I enjoyed. I think most of them were probably in the side missions and stuff like that. There was one guy who was an archer, very old man, who I talked to about. His name Sensei Ishikawa. He's a samurai, but he's an archer, and he gives you a bow, and like this is one of the first missions. He's like, here's the bow, and you use it for a bit, and he goes, how does the bow feel? And you say, like it was made for me. And he goes, well, it wasn't. And then just walks away. It's like, that's so good. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
And then there was another one where it's like you climb up this mountain, and you get to the top, and he's just up there, but he hasn't been following you. You just disappear. Like, he disappears from you and ends up there.
Yep.
And you sort of like, how did you get up here? He's like, oh, I took the stairs. and you're like, but you said the only way up was to climb. I said, no. I said the only way up for you was to climb.
Good.
Which is great. Just this dumb thing.
Yeah.
And then you talk to one of your friends who's a Straw Hat, and he ends up betraying you later. But before all that happens, you end up fighting beside him once or twice. And your character says, your fighting form has improved. And then, or maybe he says that to you. And then you say to him, and you managed to grow a beard.
Yeah, that was really good.
Just dumb little lines like that.
Yeah.
Loved it. So it's just little sprinklings of little jokes like that.
Yeah.
Kind of picked it up just a little bit. It's like, there is some character there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the voice actors had a little bit of fun.
I mean,
with those.
Yuna and Jin have a little sexy time, and the little lines before that were pretty funny.
Yes.
I remember they were pretty good.
Oh yeah, at the start of the game, when you're first with Yuna, who is a thief, she starts taking people's things. Or you go into a house and she's like, grab whatever you need. And he's like, but this isn't my house, this isn't my stuff. And she's like, well, the people aren't coming back to get it, so you might as well take it. And then throughout the whole game, all you do is steal.
Yeah.
You're just stealing everything. It's the only way you get any items is to steal it.
Which is the bizarre thing when you're in your own camp and you can still R2 to grab supplies. I'm like, I mean, this feels a bit weird. I feel like I'm stealing from myself now.
Yeah. It's so funny. Or like you like help people because their house was on fire or whatever. And like next to their camp is just some stuff. So you're like, all right. Well, like the survivor camps.
Yeah.
These little survivor camps where there's all these people who were forced out of their homes and they've set up these little tents.
Yeah.
And you just go around and take everything they've got. Like
it's so good.
It's brilliant. I loved when you were following NPCs and they would tell you to come inside. They would go in, open the door, and then close the door in your face.
And you know what I do when they do that? I fucking get my sword and I smash it open. It was so good.
That's brilliant. That's so good. Yeah.
So then in the cutscenes, you're talking to them and there's just a destroyed door behind them.
It's
very
great.
Funny.
Yeah, love that stuff. There was some really cool stuff, like in the start. I don't know if this was a thing that you're forced to do, like in the first mission where you first meet Yuna and are going through that area, but you save a man and his baby at a farm.
Doesn't sound familiar. Maybe it's been a long time.
Early on, yeah. And she says, "Oh, there's a camp here," or maybe you say it, like there's a camp. There's this temple or something nearby. It's got a bunch of people. Go hide away with them. There's a lot of those sorts of side missions where you help a family or you help a guy, whatever, and then you send them to one of those camps. When you go to those camps, they're there.
Yeah, right.
And you can go talk to them, and they're like, "Oh, thank you for saving me back there," or like thank you for saving my son, and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. So there is, like, it does feel like the world is lived in, even though it is fairly empty from like, I don't know, place to place. It's relatively empty, but yeah, it does feel like people actually live here and you are actually doing good because you save them here and then you see them later here and
Still
they remember
alive.
you and they will have a conversation with you about it. So there's some cool little things like that. Really enjoyed that. And then this is my final thing. This was just super, super strange and I'll explain when I get there.
Yeah.
One of the last side missions that I did, mythic quests that I did, was called the Way of the Fire, which is the one where you can light your sword on fire. So I did that, and then I went outside, went for a walk, like literally, I went outside myself. Me. I went out. I think I went down to a skate park, to a skate shop, and as I was walking there, I got a notification from Reddit on my phone, and the Reddit article or whatever post was Way of the Fire. I was like, what? No, what?
Totally unrelated.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how the hell why it happened.
Yeah.
It was so strange. It kind of freaked me out. I'm like, Reddit doesn't know my PlayStation history.
No.
And like,
God,
from what I remember, Reddit doesn't, like, you know how like Facebook and ads and stuff are listening to you through your phone?
Totally.
I don't think Reddit does that for posts.
No, there's just that one guy with glasses on and a hat with his PC set up behind him. Have you gotten that ad? It's just constant. Every time I open Reddit, there's this one dude. It's always there. But yeah, I don't think they don't hear your thoughts like Facebook does.
It was freaking weird.
That's
it was so strange. Yeah, and I was like, nope. I'm done with that.
Yeah, good.
Not looking at that. That was too weird.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it.
Can I just quickly say,
the
alongside just the only other thing that I wish the game had improved,
yes, sir,
is that your horse is the worst horse in video games since like Assassin's Creed 2. Like, it is horrendous. The dude can't cross rivers. Like, What is... I just don't understand. I ran everywhere. Like, the only time I ever did a horse was, like, if it was, like, 5,000 kilometers or whatever. Otherwise, I'm running to this thing that's 2,000. It's easier. I can deal with, you know, a fence. That horse was just the worst.
Yeah. Funny thing, though, because I played it when I had a friend around.
Yeah.
Briefly, and they were saying, like, that whenever that was happening, they were laughing. They know horses. They own horses.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, it seems legit.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
They were
horses
like
are
that.
Little
Horses,
pansies.
Yeah.
They're scared of everything.
Yeah. Did I say this on a previous podcast?
No.
Okay. I can't I thought I told someone at some point. But yeah, they were saying that their sister was riding down the road on their horse, like a proper road.
Yeah.
And there was a bird poo on the road.
Yeah.
And as it got closer and saw the bird poo, it threw the sister off because it freaked out that much.
Amazing.
There was a white spot on the road, and
Yeah.
it didn't expect
It's
it.
like, I don't want that.
Freaked the crap out of it. So the way it was like jumping like from here to here, like onto a rock or whatever.
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah,
nah,
horses are that
probably.
weird.
Like, if it's a pretty crap horse or
Yeah.
whatever, like it's not well trained. Yeah, it's probably pretty
That's
dumb. It
funny.
would do that. It's hilarious. So she didn't find it weird at all.
That's great.
Hilarious.
Well, I mean, it just felt as dated as the camera. But if
Yes.
maybe they programmed it like that, we don't
Maybe
know.
maybe it was perfect. One more thing. Sorry. This is the thing I messaged you about that I got real mad about at the end of Act 2.
Yes, please.
Because they said the horse didn't die. When you first get your horse and choose your horse,
Yeah.
they say, like, pick your color, pick your name, this horse will be with you for the entire journey. They kill it at the end of Act 2.
Hated that.
So pissed. And
Yeah.
then whenever I was riding the other horse, either of the other two horses, I'm like, I hate you. I hate you so much. I don't want you. You can piss off. I want my horse. I want Kage. I want Kage.
I think I had Kagi as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah? Did you get black as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember
sick.
the name. Otherwise, I wouldn't remember the name.
Yeah. So, yeah, I chose the black one because it looked the best.
Yeah.
And Kage meant shadow, and that
Yes.
made more sense for the black horse.
Totally.
So,
Then the next one, I got the white horse.
yeah. Same.
Yeah, good,
And
amazing.
named it like Sun.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's funny.
We're so the same.
I sent you the clip. I don't think I actually recorded it properly, but when one of the times I called my horse, he whistled or whatever, and then it came, and then he went, horse, and then got off the horse.
Yeah.
Very
One
funny.
of the things we didn't talk about was the standoffs.
Oh, yeah.
So when you go up to like a group and you can press up, and then you go off into like it's almost like a Western duel,
Totally.
except it's
Well,
kind of like
The Western duel came from the samurai standoff.
probably would,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
basically you wait for the enemy to make their attack, and then as soon as they start to make their attack and don't bluff, then you make your attack and kill them.
Yep.
Where was I going with that? That's right.
The standoffs.
As you approach him, or those groups, sometimes like you'd be like fight me or whatever. He'd say something.
Yeah.
And there was one or two times where I'd just walk up to him and just be like, "Hey!"
Yeah, totally. It's
like-
Whilst walking
it just-
at the slowest pace known to man.
Yeah. It's like, why? You don't
Yeah.
say it like that. Like, that's not how you start one of these epic fights where you're about to kill five
No,
people.
that's how Roger Federer plays tennis.
I would know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, oh man.
Yeah. Those were pretty
So
cool,
weird.
though. They were pretty
Yeah.
fun at the start. By the end, it was like, I hate you.
Yeah,
I hate
they-
dealing with this.
They got harder and harder as they went, especially Act 3. They were like so difficult.
Yeah.
But the difficulty remained in the location. So the
The first island was still...
yeah,
or
the
first
very
half.
south.
Yeah.
Yeah, the very south was super easy. The middle part was also easy, and then the north part was like piss off impossible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Good game.
That's the game.
Fun.
Basically, what you just said there, that's the game. It's good.
It's good. It's good. It's fun.
As some of you may know in the chat and also listening right now, we're planning to do a PlayStation 4 exclusive podcast very soon in the future. We can both rule out this game won't be on our list, probably. And just FYI, we still enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It needs
definitely.
to be
It was
said.
just It was just a fun game.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything in particular. It was just pretty good.
Yeah. Totally serviceable, and a fairly decent story by the end. I'd actually be intrigued to know what the cutscene... You know how people compilate... I don't think compilate is the right word.
Compilate, I love it.
Compile all the cutscenes and stuff in a film. I'd be intrigued to know what those look like, because some of it is shit. So I'd be intrigued to know what the movie for this would look like. And I kind of want to watch it just to see the story condensed into that.
Surely someone would have done it.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, totally a fun game. If you've got either 22 hours or 55 hours, there's the game for you. My path was 22. Josh's wasn't.
Much longer. I don't know how long, but yep. Loved it. It's good.
It was good fun.
Well, loved it. Enjoyed it.
I
wanted to go back and continue playing it.
You platinum.
It was fun.
So it's good enough. If you want to hear more of these podcasts, we're here now seemingly every week. We're doing pretty well. I recorded one this week, but I just didn't get around to editing it. But that saves us for the week after, or 2 weeks, because this will probably go out the week you're watching it. Then next week is... The week you're watching it is DC Fandom, and then the week after that I got a Stargirl one already shot with Sam, so we got like 2 weeks of just, well, you do, 2 weeks of nothing.
Hell yeah.
You can watch Umbrella Academy, come back with that, and then do PlayStation exclusives. It's going to be great. If you want all these podcasts, you can subscribe on YouTube if you can see us, and if you can't see us, you can hit that follow over on Spotify.
Yeah, please do. And if you want to support us in any way, if you can, look after yourself, as we have said in the past, but not for a while. If you do want to support us and get a little bit more, then jump over to patreon.com/each to their own. Just $1, I don't know how much, anything, doesn't really matter.
No.
We'll get you in there. That'll get you into our super secret Discord, where Lucas Dolphin Pants, who has been following this, has linked the full movie of Ghost of Tsushima just then for you, Will.
Thank you.
It's all there, so you can watch that after. And if you guys want to watch it but don't know where to find it because you don't know how to use YouTube, but can use Patreon and Discord,
you're very good.
Do that. Yeah, that's an interesting dilemma you have.
You do. And if you also want to watch things, you can watch what you're watching right now uncut if you go over to patreon.com/each to their own. The links go straight to the Discord. So you can do so much if you go to the Patreon. But also, as we always say, when we do say it, look after yourself first. It's crazy time out there. It's crazy time out there.
Yes. And as we also say at the end of these podcasts, Josh out.
Will out. I don't say Josh out. I say Will out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's what I say.